Hey lovelies, it's Kate. Welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. I wanted to challenge myself a bit, and you know how much I love round shapes, so I decided to create a build which only consists out of curved rooms. You can see how I'm placing all these curved rooms, and I'm confusing myself a bit here because this was a bit challenging. I had to figure out a shape which looks cool but also makes sense and is round. So I was trying different things, and I built this on a 50 by 50 lot in granite falls, and I wanted this house to float initially because I knew that I would like to turn this into a cliff house. So later on I'm going to raise the terrain below, and I'm going to use lots of debug rocks, but for this reason I had to make sure that there is no foundation below. So I've used the good old trick of just building a room, placing a floor piece on top, deleting the room, and then raising the floating floor piece, and I then built the whole house on the floating floor piece. And here at this point I have already laid out the shape pretty much. Every single room is round, and there is an issue. So as soon as you have a room that is curved inwards and you remove the ceiling, you will have this not so beautiful gap. And it also turns the room below into like an outdoor area. Like, this is not a proper closed room below. The fix would be to either leave the ceiling in this area, like above the round piece, or to use a triangular piece, but then it wouldn't have this beautiful shape. I wanted to have a wall that's curved inward, so I just decided to use some spotty stony goodness slabs to hide the gaps, and I decided to leave the area below the way it is. So this is kind of the outer area, and the round rooms are fully closed, and this is where the magic happens. I'm going to furnish all of these rooms, and I had so much fun. I saw that the amazing James Turner did something similar. He used completely round rooms and combined them to create a house. So shout out to James Turner. I mean, he doesn't need a shout out because he's James Turner. I mean, he deserves all the shout outs, but everyone knows him. This is what I meant. Like, it seems ridiculous that someone like me gives him a shout out because he's like the James Turner. But yeah, he's the best. I just love his content so much. I just kind of planned this right after the update came out, but I had no idea how to do this. I then saw some futuristic houses on Pinterest, and I thought, okay, maybe I can just create a completely over-the-top shape, but I did not recreate anything because you really just have to see what's possible. You just, as you saw in the beginning, you just place a curved room, and then you place another curved room, and then the shape just kind of comes along because you're just limited with what's possible, and this shape just kind of happened, I feel like. And I then just placed all these windows. I was going for a modern vibe. It kind of remotely reminds me of the Tony Stark mansion. And I then raised the trim below, and I just placed lots of debug rocks, as I've mentioned earlier. I just wanted this to look like a beautiful cliff house, and I always feel like that's kind of the vibe for granite forts. But first I used this object from Get Together. It's just I don't know what it is, some type of decorative object. It can just be found in the decorative section, and I rotated it using tool to have this look. So it looks like as if it's supporting the whole house, and then I started to place all these debug rocks, and I just moved them into the terrain using the tool mod, so it really looks really natural. I then decided to change the roof color to black, so I have a nice contrast. The house is super bright and monochrome. I just wanted to have like a contrast at least. I mean, the inside is more colorful, as you will see, but I wanted the exterior to be like hyper modern and futuristic. I then decided to create a round shape using the Get Famous Pristine pedestal. I used the good old base game rack that I like to use for this. The problem is that I wasn't able to delete the floor in this area, because then it would have deleted the round room connected to it, like the room that's curved inward where I had removed the ceiling, like the whole problem that I've talked about earlier. So I could not remove the floor. So instead I just decided to embrace it and to use pristine pedestals to make it round. At first I just wanted to hide the floor inside some debug rocks, but then I decided to do it this way. And on the roof I just used an object from Get Together. It can be found in the decoration section where you find statues and stuff. So it's not technically a rug, but it functions and looks like a rug. And the cool thing is it's like super white, like completely white, because when you want to have this look and you use a white floor color, it's always looking beige or gray. You never have this really bright, simple white color when you use a floor swatch. So I just used this object instead, and it has the same color as the pristine pedestal or the spotty stony goodness slab. So I just used this one, and yeah, it just functions like a rug essentially. And you can here see how I'm working on the floor plan. I've also used curved rooms on the inside, of course, because I did not want to use regular walls. So all these rooms are round, and this is kind of the challenge to really make it work, because there are like so many arrows this game gives you, like conflicting block clusters and invalid round rooms. There's always something going on, and you kind of have to find a workaround. And creating the floor plan was really exciting for that reason, because I really had to fit in all these curved rooms in there so the rooms would be fully closed, and I was able to make it work somehow. I then expanded this area in the back because, I mean, I just wanted to have another round section, because this is what this build is all about. So this little patio area is also round. I then used some base game bushes to decorate just the terrain. I did not want to go overboard. You know how much I love the flat base game bush to just hide the steep slopes whenever I'm using the terrain tools. I don't like the exposed terrain, but in this case I did not want to go overboard, and I embraced the terrain because I feel like it's a vibe and it just makes sense to do it this way. And yeah, and then already started to furnish, and this is such a beautiful room. The view is wonderful. I've used many windows so you can see that it's really bright, sun flooded, and I wanted to turn this into a kitchen. So essentially there is a hallway in the center which is technically outdoors, and then I just used all these different fully closed rooms to just turn it into a house. So this round room here is the kitchen and dining area. I'm then going to use another round room to turn it into the whole living area, and then the smallest round room is going to be the bathroom, and the room at the top is going to be the bedroom. And this way it's fully functional, and I had the best time furnishing this because it's like so different to furnish a round room. You just have to make it work. You have to rotate all these individual counters. For this, as always, I've used the Alt key and the left mouse button. And when you are pressing both and you move the mouse, it's rotating the object. And this is how I've just kind of aligned all these counters on the curved wall. And I then decided to just include a pop of color. At first I was going for this bluish color. It's like a bluish green, but then later on I'm going to change it and it's going to be like bright green, a really bright aggressive green, which I think is so cool. But I just wanted to add a pop of color. I had so much fun recently building all these Barbie builds, the Polly Pocket house, and I was kind of missing the color when I was building this, but I was going for this typical modern vibe on the exterior. So I thought, okay, at least I'm going to add lots of color to the interior and make it fun and happy. I just had the best time building these colorful houses. I just want to do something like this again, but I don't know what I could do, to be honest. I mean, I've built the Barbie dream house, I've built the Barbie dream boat, I've built a Polly Pocket toy which is functional and you can use it as a regular house, but what's next? Like, if you have any requests for these really fun, colorful toy recreations or anything similar, maybe out of a movie, just let me know what I should do. I just had the best time and I just love the color pink recently. Like, building this made me so happy. Pink is such a happy color and building this just made me so happy. Also, I already announced it in the community tab, but soon I'm going to have merch finally. For years, I had planned to do some merch, and over the years I have received some comments about this, if there's merch, so some of you seem to be interested, and I finally started to work on this, and I have asked in the community tab like what you want to see. Some of you have said stickers, a good morning lovelies mug, and also a keychain. And yeah, if you have any other ideas, requests, something that you would like to see, let me know. I'm just still in the process of designing everything myself, and I should be like ready in, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 weeks. I've created a couple of things already, but I just want to hear what you would like to see, so it makes you happy. Even if you like think you will not buy something, like even if you are not really someone who likes merch or stuff like this, if you have a fun idea, if you think that something is kind of iconic when it comes to this channel, like the "Hey Lovelies" phrase, just let me know what you think. I just have so much fun designing all these things right now, because I just love to just listen to music and bury myself in Photoshop or Illustrator and just doing some designs. I love this so much, and I just have the best time. So yeah, this is the living room. This rug is like the coolest rug ever because it has a gradient. It has this dark blue color on one side, and on the other side it has this more, yeah, like this brighter blue color. And at first I thought it's just the lighting in this room. Like I didn't realize it, and then I placed it on the outside to take a closer look because I really wanted to know if it's like indeed a gradient. And yeah, it has a gradient. It's like such a cool, happy rug. It's from high school years, and I love all the objects in this amazing pack. Just so cool. I then just wanted to have more color, but then just kind of shied away from the orange swatch that I just randomly threw into the mix. And yeah, this is just a beautiful living room, so Sims can watch TV, they can paint, they can play chess, they can just hang out and talk, they can read a book. So it's just like a regular living room, but in a really fancy shape. And it's just so different to furnish a round room, because you really have to make it work. I think it would be so cool if we could get some base game sofas, like a really basic base game sofa in 3 different sizes. So we have 3 different sizes for the curved rooms, and it would be so cool if we had this like a base game sofa that matches the curve of these rooms, like 3 different sizes, and then we could just place it on a wall. Because I feel like curved rooms are part of the base game, it would be so cool to have this feature just as a part of the base game. And then they could of course expand it and just add different designs and variations to different packs. This is something that I would love to see, because it's like so hard to really furnish a room like this. Of course you can just place a regular sofa in the center of the room or something, that's like not a problem, but at the same time I feel like it's so much cooler to have a sofa right in front of a wall. I love this type of design. And yeah, this here is the bathroom. It's the smallest curved room in the house. It also has a bit of a wonky shape because it just happened. Because I just had to connect everything, so I had to change the size of some of the curved rooms so it has a different shape than the other ones. And I just included everything you would need: the walk-in shower, a nice tub. So it's just a really lovely modern bathroom essentially. And I then started to work on the room at the top, which is the bedroom. And I had used all these spotty stony goodness slabs on the exterior, as you saw earlier, and some of them were kind of glitching into the room. And I could not prevent this because I wanted to have this perfect curve on the outside to hide the gap. So I didn't want to compromise. So I instead just embraced it. I allowed all these spotty stony goodness slabs to kind of glitch into the room. And I then simply decided to use a pristine pedestal from Get Famous to outline this and to turn this into a really fancy windowsill area, like the most fancy windowsill ever. And I just placed some plants in there and this fancy lamp, so it's like really over the top, but I just wanted to make it work. And I mean, this whole build is kind of over the top, so I just decided to do it. For this room I also wanted to have a pop of color. So for the kitchen and dining area, it's this really bright green. Then we have lots of blue colors in the living room. And for this room, I wanted to have this mint green, which is really calming and just perfect for a bedroom. And I used this little this little chair, this little thingy from, I think it's also from the high school pack in this really crazy swatch. It has like some yellows in it. It's really beautiful. And for the bed, I wanted to have a really big headboard. It's really difficult to furnish the bigger round rooms. You just have to decorate the walls and not everything kind of fits. So I just decided to have a custom headboard behind the bed to make it look a bit more fancy. I have also used the LED lights from the new pack in different areas because they are just so fancy. They are especially cool if you have like cabinets in a kitchen or a shelf. You can just place it below, or when you place a TV on a wall, you can also use the LED lights below the TV. There are lots of different things you can use them for, and they are like one of the coolest additions. I then wanted to have a walk-in closet, which was kind of difficult because these don't really like to snap to a curved wall, and I just decorated the room a bit. And I then noticed that I of course also have to furnish all these balconies and the back of the house and all that, so I kind of jumped back to working on the exterior, and I wanted to include a hot tub and just different things that's really fancy. I think it's so cool that there are multiple balconies because in a build like this in Granite Falls, it's always good to be able to enjoy the view. And your Sims, of course, have to enter the house some way. So I decided to build this gigantic tower in the back and to simply use a ladder. So it's kind of like a tree house in a way. I removed all the floors in there so they can just start to climb at the bottom and climb all the way up. Again, a bit over the top and weird, but it works, and this is what matters. So I just kind of decided to hide this area in the back. So from the front, it has this Tony Stark mansion vibe. And I then just used a kitchen. I wanted to have an outdoor kitchen, a barbecue grill, a stove, just different things so Sims could cook on the outside. And this is kind of the coolest thing, having a whole kitchen on the outside. I mean, some stuff like when you fry some fries indoors, for example, the whole apartment, the whole house just smells like fries for a whole day. And I feel like if you could do something like this on the outside, an outdoor kitchen, this would be like so cool. And yeah, this is it. You can here see lots of screenshots. This build is available in the gallery. It is CC free and unmodded. My ID is KateEmerald, and you can also grab the tray files from my Patreon. And speaking of which, it's time to thank my wonderful Emerald Patreons and my Emerald YouTube members. A big thank you to Mehmet Ali Baris Khan, Paula Anna, Asia, Emma Burns, Charlotte, Lisa Martin, Leah Cross, Saturated Spark, Shannon McClan, Stephen, and Helena Lynn. Thank you so much for your gigantic support. A big thank you to all my other patrons and YouTube members. And of course, a big thank you to anyone who watches my videos. Thank you for just being here. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I, of course, appreciate if you would like to like and subscribe. And I hope you will have a perfect day. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.